So don't worry, it has not checked your Power BI project yet, because I haven't done that. Still in the process of going through it. Okay, so quite a number of you have submitted since last time as well. Okay. So now, I want you to see some differences in the project. Okay. Say for instance, let me take this particular presentation and just open it up. Okay. So now looking at this presentation, introduction, data analysis, dashboard, recommendation. Like this, the slide is just how many pages? There was no, the data analysis, the data was properly cleaned by making sure the data is in correct format, time was appropriately grouped, duplicate transactions were removed, the dashboard with. What were the analysis you did? You didn't tell us the highest selling product or product category or region or location. You didn't tell us how they compare amongst each other. You didn't show us other charts and explain it to us. Okay, so visuals or presentations like this are things that I would not accept. Okay, I've already marked it out. If I run the function to calculate the number of people that submitted, it won't calculate this. Okay, but I already marked it out. Where is the particular? I think it's this one. Okay, it's already marked out. It won't calculate it. All right. Another example of something like that is this. Okay, this person. Why did I even mark out this person? Okay, so the picture of dashboard. See what you submitted for picture of dashboard. Picture of dashboard. Okay, so you probably want to go and check it again. Check it out again. All right, your dashboard picture, what you submitted for your presentation as well. Okay, probably want to check it out again and make sure you're submitting the correct thing. Let me see. What other one again did I point out? There were quite a lot that I actually pointed out, but then I'm not going to be showing everything, but you know yourselves, you know the kind of presentations that you submitted. All right. So I advise you to work on them. Let me check this one. If the issue with the presentation or if it is the dashboard. Okay, yes. So all right, so why did I mark this? Okay, nice. The person did very well on the analysis. Very what is it called? Detailed. Okay, but I like something like, you know, if you are going to be making use of a slide for a presentation slide, that's what you called it. Presentation on. You know, you're not going to be presenting something like this. Okay, you need to separate each of these analyses into different pages and accompany them with their respective visuals. Now, one thing that most of you need to understand is that when you are working on a visual, another reason why I pinpointed this was because of the dashboard. Okay, dashboard is not quite good. All right, it's not quite good. Your slicers are not arranged properly. Your visuals do not align well. All right, those are the two reasons why I pointed this out. So if you are one of those that have the same issue, you should work on it. If not, it won't mark it. It won't recognize that you've submitted it. Okay. So, but the analysis very detailed, and you can always, accompany it with the what's it called? With the respective visual. All right. And one thing many of you need to understand is that not all the visuals need to go onto your dashboard. Whenever you are building dashboard, put the visuals that are necessary to measure business performance. Okay. But you can do in-depth analysis and generate other visuals that you can add to your presentation whenever you want to do what's it called, to speak regarding a certain area. Okay, so those visuals do not necessarily need to be on the dashboard, but they can be on your presentation slide, explaining what you need to develop visual. Okay, so, let me select one more. That's, I think. So you can see many of the issues were from the presentation. Many of the issues were from the presentation. There was one person that I noted out for, I think, the dashboard. So this person submitted the same picture for both dashboard and Power BI file. Okay, so I can't download your Power BI file and see if you actually created a dashboard here. So there was someone I pointed. Is this person? I think it's this person. Living dashboard. Adeni something. Pointed out the person so that you can see the picture you submitted for your dashboard. So you need to work on that, right? This is the picture you submitted for your dashboard. Do you see that? Okay, so you need to work on that. This is the first page, this is the second page. So if you are submitting next time, okay, if you want to submit, make sure that you at least remove the first page before printing. Okay, I know that you converted to PDF by using Control P. Okay, but with that you can hide the first page so that it will not be included. Okay, let me see. I didn't mark it. Did I mark the project? Let me see. This is it. Okay, I didn't mark it. So it means I saw it. So this is a nice visual. Aligned, well aligned. I love the picture. I love the color and everything. Well aligned, beautiful. Okay. But one thing I quickly noticed on your slides is that you're not using a drop down. You're using like a list. So I have to scroll to see the other months here. Even from the picture, I can easily see that. For your sum of sales by product detail, you can probably do like the top 10, top 5. Okay, here I have to scroll as well. But I love the concept. And your presentation too, I think I also noted that. There are some people that stood out, both dashboard and presentation. I think this is one. Okay, this is one of the dashboard that I was even looking for. So this is not really good dashboard wise. Okay, count of sales by transaction dates. What is this visual telling me? Look at this. Look at this visual. What is the insight you are getting from this visual? Count of sales by count of transaction dates by sales. What is this? What is this telling me? You are counting transaction dates by sales. Do you see that? Okay, so I can't accept this. How did I miss that? Okay, let me see this person. All right. Yeah, for this person, I loved the colors. But I think the main okay. So I love the fact that you wanted to make use of just stick to just about 2 or 3 colors, okay? But then these data labels, instead of using red, you could have just stick to black to have made it much more better, okay? And then every other thing can remain the same way. For your presentation, yes, one thing I noticed was that you did your presentation on online PowerPoint, which I don't mind, okay? But I love the fact that you copied the link of that PowerPoint into a PDF document or into a Word document, and you submitted that Word document. So I was able to figure out that, okay, this is the link you want me to visit. So I copied that link and then I pasted it and opened it, and it worked. It worked. So I really like that initiative. If I check, I think I noted yours because of the presentation, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's because of the presentation. Let's see. All right, so this person has just 14 pages, but data cleaning said the exact things that she did. For the data analysis aspect, you can see this page is blank, okay? So one thing you could have done is put the data analysis in the middle, make it bigger, so that we know that we're entering into a new section, okay? And then she had, this picture is not loading, although I can see it here. So picture and explanation, picture and explanation. Why are the remaining ones not loading? About 4 different slides like that. So you could have more slides, though, say 6 or 7 slides on those aspects alone. Okay, picture and explanation before you then get to your dashboard. Okay, and after your dashboard, the recommendation and conclusion, and then thank you page. Okay, though it's not much, but it was direct, concise, and I like the effort. Okay, rather than not even putting effort and just submitting 5 pages with, it's really not acceptable. So let me just show 2 more that I liked. I mean, those were from the ones that I've already submitted so far. Okay, now you would see even this person. So this person did not do paparazzi regarding the design, just made use of one template, okay, and went straight to the point. So you see that there's not much paparazzi regarding the design. Okay, you don't need to do so much. It's not designed and kill the, what's it called? Communicate what you need to communicate. Got into data analysis. You can see how she started, overview, though you could have added introduction, okay, but I'm fine. All right, I just want to see that, yes, you really put effort into this thing. Overview, you could have put introduction into the data set or the company, and then you move on to the overview, data cleaning. You can see pinpointed necessary data cleaning that she took. Okay, table and measures that was created, and then started explaining. Do you see that? Picture, explanation, picture, explanation, picture, explanation, picture, explanation, and then the dashboard, and then the recommendation, and then the conclusion. So I mean, look at the work that this person did and compare it to the ones I was showing initially. So you as a tutor, okay, yeah, what do you think you would do in that case? All right. So this is for those of you that you know that, okay, what you've done, you just did what you like actually. Okay. Go and correct it and resubmit. Okay. This is another very good example. I don't know why this thing is taking time to load tonight. I can't show you everything, but I think this is just the last one I will show you. Why is it taking time to open tonight? So these guys did well, both dashboard, presentation-wise. So I think that was all I reviewed yesterday. So if you know that, okay, your presentation, you could have done better, go ahead and do better. Okay, or your dashboard as well. So you can see this presentation. no much paparazzi regarding the design. Okay, I'm very familiar with these templates because I use PowerPoint a lot. So I know that these are inbuilt templates from PowerPoint. All right. The only thing is just the font, black and white, and straight to the point. You see this introduction. Do you see that? Then data cleaning, then the DAX calculations that I did, then data analysis, picture explanation, picture explanation. I don't need you to get it perfectly because I know that you were not taught PowerPoint here. Although you could go ahead, go online and do what's it called, research for yourself. Okay, but at least I see the fact that yes, you got a picture on the presentation, on the slide, and then you put an explanation about it. It means that you put in the effort to do this thing. Okay, and you can see the number of pages. This one is 17 pages altogether. And you can see picture explanation, and then finally the dashboard, the recommendation. You can see it's still not up to 20. Okay, but they were still able to communicate the insight. Same thing with this person I wanted to show you. Picture explanation, picture explanation. I don't know what's wrong with the internet today, but all I'm just trying to say is put in more effort to these things. Okay, put in more effort to this thing. When if you have a job interview, okay, it is the effort you've put into these things that make you better, that make you do better on that job interview. All right. So as you are submitting, you need to keep that in mind. Okay, you need to keep that in mind. So, like I said, I might just extend the submission for the project to either Friday or Saturday, but I don't want you to go ahead. I gave you 2 weeks for this project, so that it will not be something that you would rush and. But I'm noticing some mistake, and I'm giving you an extra time to work on it. All right. So the thing is, if you don't work on it within this time frame, okay, at the end of the program, some people will get certificates and some people might not. And for those people that don't get certificates, yes, you might still have the opportunity to work on it. But then it might now take time in processing your own certificate because normally it's meant to be processed along with the court. Okay. But then if you've already missed the line or the deadline for your own courts, okay, to process their own certificate, all right, you might now have to wait like 1 month, okay, while your project goes under review, scrutiny, and then, passes the checks before you can even say, okay, you want to start looking for how to process the certificate. Okay, so while some people are getting their own, let's say 2 weeks after the program ends, or 3 weeks after the program ends, some people will be getting theirs about 2 months after. All right, so make sure you put in the effort and you submit before the deadline. All right, so that's what I want to show you. All right, so let's go back into our PG admin and SQL.
Okay, I got it. Confession. I'm asking you.
Okay, so like I said, we want to move on to filtering groups with having and then joining columns using inner join and the outer joins. Okay, so like our usual manner, I was meant to ask you some questions, you answer them, but We won't do that today because I've already used that time to explain some things regarding your Power BI. Okay, we actually still have about 20 minutes, but I would rather do what's called move into the class today. So that if we can finish the syllabus today, the next class can be like a wrap-up class for your what's it called? The case study I said we're going to look at, and then I can also ask you questions. So I'll start with asking you questions in the beginning, and then we'll move on into the case study, and then we'll call it a day or a program. And that's the end of the program. So all right. So in the last class, we looked at analyzing data, okay, with the power of group by. So we said the group by statement allows you to group rows that have the same values. So it returns a single row for each group and allows you to perform aggregate functions like sum, average, min, max on each group. Okay, so let's go ahead and see some examples again. Okay, so now for this example that you see here, you'll see something like from customer C payments P. Okay, what this is simply doing is assigning an alias to your table name. So that instead of saying, oh, okay, this already included a join. Okay. Let's get to join first before we discuss that. Let's look at the having clause first. All right. So the having clause is used to filter groups created by the group statement. So do you now see that if you don't have a group by, you can't make use of having? Okay, it is similar to the where clause, but it is used with aggregate functions. Okay, so example, suppose we want to find the customers who have spent more than $100 in total from the payment table. We can use the group by and having statements to group the payments by customer and filter the groups by the total payment amount. The SQL statement will look like this. Select customer ID, some amount as total payments. From payments, group by customer ID, having some amount greater than 100. All right. Very good question, Olukemi. Now, the distinct function cannot perform the same function as group by. Okay. The group by compresses, it groups the distinct values. Because it is now a group, for every record of that group, you can perform an aggregate function. The distinct will not group, it will just select one value. Okay, so the distinct does not perform the same function as the group by. But I like the fact that you see that it appears as though it is the same thing. Okay, very good one on that observation. All right, but they don't do the same work. They don't do the same work. All right. So back to the having clause. Let's see how the having clause is used in SQL. Okay. So let us see. Let us get the customers. the customers and their total payments till date. Okay, so how do we do that? I want to get the customers and their total payments till date. Okay, now there are two tables involved here: customer and payment. Customer and payment. Now, on the customer table, I have the customer details: first name, last name, and the likes. Okay, on the payment table, I have the detail for payment. All right, now let me select from payments. Remember, if you don't remember the name of the tables you have, you can simply expand the database, expand the schema, go into the public schema or whichever schema that contains the data, and then you see tables, expand it, and then you see the name of tables you have there. All right. So now select asterisk from payments. Okay, this gives me all that I need. All right. Now each customer ID refers to a particular customer on the customer table. All right. So if I want to get the customer name and their payments, I will need to join the two tables, but we've not talked about joins yet. Okay. So I'm going to have to make do with the customer ID. All right. So what it means is that I am going to be making use of the customer ID to group by. All right. So now, if I want to group by very easily, if I want to group by, I need to make sure that what I want to group by appears in the select statement, like I've said before. So I'll start with select customer from payment. Okay. Then group by payments, or group by customer rather. Group by customer. So when I run this, doesn't exist. Sorry, customer ID. Customer ID. Customer ID. Now, you can see that the customer IDs have been grouped and is waiting for me to perform an aggregation on another column, isn't it? So I want to get a total payment. So it means I'm going to be summing the amount column. All right. So I'm selecting the customer ID, comma, and then sum amounts. All right. So when I run this, it gives me the customer ID and the sum of the amount column. And it's calling the sum of the amount column as sum, but I needed to call it total payments. So I'm going to put as, in double quotes, total payments. When I run this, do you see that now? Okay, customer ID and total payments. Now, should the need arise that I've been given a question to not just get the customers and their total payments till date, but I should get the list of customers that have in total paid above $200. How do I do that? Good. Customers with above $200 in total payments. Do you see that? So you are now seeing how the questions would come. Okay, so who is the best customer? What is the name of the best customer? That one you would have to perform a join. Okay, but can you get us a list of the customers that have paid above $200 in total from our store? I would like to appreciate them. Okay, so with this, you're going to start with this same query, but this time around, you would now include a condition. Now, the condition you want to include is on the total payments column. But remember that the total payments column is an aggregated column. And for you to perform a condition on an aggregated column, you need what? The having clause. So the having clause is used to filter groups, but it is used with aggregate functions. So you would now say having, okay, now see something. If I say having total payments greater than 200, when I run this query, you see that it gives me an error telling me column total payment does not exist. Isn't it? Now, it will tell you it does not exist because before a column can be renamed, all the query must have run. The renaming is the final thing that we run. So before the renaming, the having clause we run. Now, don't think SQL runs a query by step. No, it doesn't start with the select statement. When SQL is running a query, okay, what it starts with is usually the from statement from the payment table. Okay, it is starting with what? From the payment table. Do you see that? Then it most likely will move on to the group by, the having, even before the select. It will perform all the conditions before it selects. It is because you are writing it like this, you might think that this is how it works. Okay, so the only thing you can do is when you want to use your having clause, you would rather say having some amount greater than 200. So when you run this now, do you see that? Only 2 customers. So these are wonderful customers, and I think we should appreciate these customers. Okay, but we'll come back to that, getting their details. Because customer ID 526148. After running this, if you want to get their details from the customer table, will you now run a different query? Say something like this: select from customer, which is the customer table, where customer ID equals 526, or customer ID equals 148. So if you run this one now, it gives you the detail of the customer. So now you have the first name, last name of the customer, you have their email. So we can send them personalized emails, okay, to thank them, isn't it? We have the address ID of the customer. Okay, what if we don't want to send an email? We want to send them a package to their address to thank them, let's say for Easter or for Christmas. Will I now say, okay, I have the address, Abby, of the customer. Okay, let me select again. Select from address where address ID equals, and that's okay, equals 152, or address ID equals 532. So if I do this, I'll run this on too, and I get the address. Okay, nice. So this is the address of the first person, this is the address of the second person. In which city? Will I run another one again? You can see from different tables. Do you see that? So, but can I run these three queries together so that I can get the customers, their name, detail, and their address? Can I run the three of them together like this? No, I will get an error. Okay, so this is where joining tables come into play. So we'll be moving into joining tables now. All right, and I need you to relax, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. It is the easiest thing that you will see so far on SQL. Okay, joining tables. All right, so let's go. Joining tables. Joining tables. Now, for the joining tables, I'm going to be teaching you inner join and outer join. Now, combining data from multiple tables with join. Join is used to combine rows from two or more tables based on a related column between them. There are different types of joins, including inner join, outer join. Now, under the outer join, you have left, right, and full. So as not to confuse my students, what I usually do is teach them inner join and outer join. Now, I will teach you inner join, which is just one method. For the outer join, you can have either left, right, or full. But what I teach them on the outer join is full. And the reason is very simple. If you know the full, you can perform whatever question you need to perform. If the question requires left outer join, you can use full to answer it. If the question requires right outer join, you can use full to answer it. So full is simply a combination of left and right. So if you combine left and right, if you now want to exclude anyone, you can exclude. So that's why I just teach inner join and full outer join. That's why you see the syntax here is for inner join alone and full outer join. All right. Now, for inner join, what you are simply doing, okay, let me show you. In SQL, there are 4 types of join: inner, left outer, right outer, full outer join. The differences between these joins lie in how they match rows from the tables being joined. We are interested in the inner and full outer joins. Now, the inner join returns only the rows that have matching values from both tables. It includes only the rows from both tables that satisfy the join condition. Matching values from both tables. I have a sales table and I have a customers table. The inner join will return only values that appear on both tables. Now, if you look at this table, which column can I join on? Although it might not be professional to do that, but from what I can see on this table, that is the only available column I can use to join them, and that is the customer name. Because customer ID is here, customer ID is not on the sales table. All right, so I think I need to work on this picture, on this illustration, right, and include customer ID. But now for customer name, I can join on these two. Okay. Now, if I join based on customer name and I am using inner join, okay, using inner join to join these two, what it will do, and I'm joining based on customer name, what it will do is that it will return rows that exist on both tables. So if the customer name can be found on this table and can be found on this table, it will return a row that match the value from both tables. That's why you will see that only Michael and Lucy is being returned. So from the sales table, I have Michael, the amount, and the customer name. Did you see that? Okay, because Michael appears on both tables. All right, so he's returning his detail from the sales table and his detail from the customer table as well. Same thing for Lucy. But if it was full outer join, the full outer join will return all the rows. Okay, so where it cannot find it on the second table, it will just put null. All right, so for instance, Peter cannot be found on the second table, it puts null. Michael cannot be found on the second table, it puts Michael can be found on both tables, it returns the record from both tables. Angelina cannot be found on the second table, it puts null. Lucy can be found, it returns all the records. Then Ahmed and Oliver cannot be found on the first table, so it will put null in those aspects. But it must return all the rows. So where there is no value for it, it puts null. Okay, so I will now tell you why the full outer can be used to answer questions required by right or left outer. If I use left outer, what left outer is simply saying is this. I want to draw. How can I draw? I'm coming now. Okay. So if I use what is it called? If I use, say, right outer. So what the right outer will do is that the table that is on the right side, meaning the second table you call, it will return all the values from that table and matching values from the first table. Okay, so in this case, it will return 1, 2, and it will also return Michael and Lucy. So all the values on the second table, all right, and then matching records on the first table. So it will return Michael, Lucy, Ahmed, and Oliver. Now, where there is matching record, it will return it. Where there is no matching record, it will just put null. It will not return Peter and Luz and Angelina because they are not on the second table, which is the right table. So if I use left outer, it will return Peter, Michael, Angelina, and Lucy. This first four is what it will return. It will return these last two because they only exist on the second table, not the first table. Okay, so while that might seem confusing, okay, let's go ahead and use in what's it called? SQL. All right, now let's come back to the syntax. Okay, so for the inner join, how do you make use of it? Select from inner join on. So you need to understand that there must be one column on both tables, like your lookup column in Excel or your primary key column in Power BI. Okay, so that column is common to both tables that you can use to join. Okay, and it must be a primary key column on one table. So say for instance now, I want to join the customer table to the payments table. I must use customer ID on both tables. because customer ID is present on customer table and is also present on payment table. And the customer ID is a unique column on the customer table, which is a primary key column, and it will be a foreign key column on the payment table. So now it gets more interesting. How? Let's start with the first query. Join the customer table it's the same thing. Join the payment table to the customer table. Okay, now I need to first and foremost know the column I'm going to use to join. Payment table to customer table. Which column am I going to use to join? I'll see something. On the payment table, this is the column. The columns are there. So now for payments, see the columns that are there. Payment ID, customer ID, staff ID, rental ID, amount. Okay, so if I want to join payment table to any other table, I can join it to customer table, to staff table, to rental table. Do you see that? Now, on the customer table, I have these columns. So which column can I use to join the customer table to the payment table? I need answers now, quickly. So, very good. I'm going to use the customer ID. Isn't it beautiful? So, in using the customer ID to join the tables, how do we do that? You now start your query. Select asterisk. Most times you would use inner join. Okay? Because you want to see the customer that was actually paid. Right? Now select asterisk from payments. That is your first table. Now you want to join your second table to it. You will now say inner join, or you can simply use join. Maybe I should just use join for you. Join. Now, if I use just join, by default, it will make use of inner join. Okay? Now, join the second table, which is what? Customer. Okay? Now, I'm going to include payment P, customer C. Okay? Meaning, payment should be recognized as letter P. Customer should be recognized as letter C. I will now say on what? P, which is payment. Now, P, the payment table, dot, meaning from the payment table, which column do I want to use? The customer ID column. On p.customer ID. Now, if I don't use payment P, okay, if I don't put P and C here, I will need to specify the full name, which is payment. But I'm using an abbreviation. That's why I included it in front of the table names. Put space and include it there. So p.customer ID equal c.customer ID, meaning the column customer ID on the payment table should be used to join the column customer ID on the customer table. Using that to create a bridge between the payment table and the customer table. So that if I run this now, I see immediately that I have the payment table, and then automatically it begins to return details from the customer table. Do you see that? Now I have payment details and then the customer details. So at one glance, initially, writing just this query just gave me details from the payment table. I don't know the name of this customer ID. This customer 341, I don't know his name. But because I was able to join these two tables now, wow. So his name is Peter Menard. Are you seeing that? His name is Peter Menard. His email is petermenard@sakila whatever. His address ID is this. But I need his actual address. I can join it to another table. You don't have to join just two tables. Now, I can join this again to another table, to the address table. So if I want to join this to the address table, which column will I use? Can someone help me out? Which column will I use? I want to join this table that I've created now. I want to join again to the address table this time around. Which column do you think I will use? Beautiful. Address ID. Beautiful. Because the address ID is here and the address ID is also on the address table. So after writing this, I'll just go to the next line and I will join again. I will say join address, letter A, enter. So whenever you specify a join, you need to specify on which column you are joining. So you specify a join, you specify the column you are joining. Then you specify another join and you specify the column you are joining. Do you see that? On what? Now I want to join on two columns. The address ID is on the customer table. Okay? The address ID is on the customer table. It's not on the payment table. Address ID is on the customer table and the address table. So I am joining customer to address. So I will say c.address ID equals a.address ID. Meaning address ID on the customer table is to be joined with the address ID on the address table. Do you see that? So where did our columns, where did this stop before? After address ID, active row, create date, last update, active. Okay, now when I run this query now, you will see that after the address ID, active, create date, last update, active, now another list of columns. It now gets us the address of the person. Wow. Are you seeing that? You don't have to stop there. You can keep on joining. Okay, this is not the full address. isn't it? Let's get the city as well of the customer. I mean, I have city ID here. Let's get the city as well now. Shouldn't we? Let's do that. Meaning I join again, isn't it? Join which table now? City table. City. Now, I cannot use letter C again because I have used letter C for customer. So I need to give a difference. I will say CI. Or I can simply say a different letter. Okay, let's say CI. Okay. On which column? Now, city ID is in the address table. So I will say address A dot city ID, meaning city ID on the address table, equal CI dot city ID. So when I run this, you see that when I go after the city ID, what do I have? I have the city now from the city table. It didn't change color. Yes, it doesn't need to change color at all times. You need to understand the concept and dynamics of SQL. Okay? At times it might change color, and at times it might not change color, and it still works. Okay? So now you see that I've been able to get the city. Finally, the country. Okay? So let's get the country. Finally, I'll say join again. Join country. Let's use CO. On the country ID is on which class table? On the city table. And it's also on the country table. So I will say from the city table, get the country ID equals country dot country ID. So when I run this now, wow, beautiful. See how many columns I have. Do you see this? Wow. Now I have much data. Are you seeing that now? Wow. But the thing is, these columns are much. I mean, at times, I'm even having repetition. For instance, this is store ID here, or this is customer ID here. This is another customer ID. Because this one is from the payments table, this one is from the customer table. I don't necessarily need it. Okay, let's now select the only columns that we need. Okay, just the columns that we need. Now, you've seen how to join, isn't it? So if you want to select just the columns you need, you go back to your select statement and you select just the columns you need. So I remove the asterisk. Now, what are the columns we need? Let us get the customer ID first. Now, I need to specify which table I'm getting the customer ID from. It doesn't matter which table, whether it is the payment table or the customer table. Just get it from one of the tables. Okay? So I will say P, which is payment, P dot customer ID. If I don't put P there and I just say customer ID, it will return an error. Let me show you. If I say select customer ID, it will tell me my query is ambiguous, meaning it can mean anything. This customer ID you are talking about is from which table? Please be specific. So I will tell it, okay, just give me one. P dot customer ID. So if I run this one now, you see that it just returns the customer ID.